So Japan has entered the Golden Week holidays, in which typically people have 7, 8, 9, 10 days of consecutive holidays, and when this is when people go for a long trip or visit their relatives, trip together, or in general have a really great time. But this year, the mood is much subdued because of this situation, and people are getting angry because the government is perceived to be doing nothing, and they are imposing really strict restrictions on life, including, for example, the non-sale of alcoholic drinks at restaurants, which is in a sense ridiculous because the government earlier has restricted the drink alcohol beverage offering until 7 p.m. and the restaurants should close at 8 p.m., which was causing some constraints from the general public. And well, there could be arguments for that, but this severe restriction of no alcoholic drinks at all, at any time, is taken with a lot of anger because if the government was doing something substantial in order to ameliorate this situation, then we might have felt more inclined to comply with the government's requests. But the government is doing, almost close to nothing, and they are in the position to use their political muscles and fiscal budget, and they could have been doing many things, but they are not doing anything substantial, and yet they are imposing all these restrictions on our lives. And so there's this perceived imbalance between what the government is doing and what the government is requiring the general public to refrain from. And so Japanese people are typically patient, and they show resilience in such a situation. But because the government inability and incompetence is probably a threshold, which even in Japanese mind exists, and people are getting angrier. But the thing is, there's no strong opposition, and so the ruling party, the LDP, is likely to hold on to power until something extraordinary happens. Something extraordinary wouldn't happen, I would predict, because the Japanese people's patience is not tested in that sense. I mean, probably the LDP will stay on to power. Nobody can say anything certain about the Olympics or Paralympics. Most probably, the government will try to go ahead with the plan anyway, and they will try to do nothing as they have been doing, and they would probably try to impose ever more severe restrictions on people's lives, and the Japanese people would probably comply with them because, we are a patient lot, and this young set of young leaves are so beautiful. When you think of the life, all this great, thriving life, then your anger about the government's inability or incompetence is kind of ameliorated. That's, I think, a weakness and a strength of me, personally, maybe. Don't you agree?